Neato Wrestling, as we are on the road to WrestleMania. And, it really is a big time WrestleMania. It's got that big time feel. We got the tag match coming up, which we're all hyped for now. Robin Lundberg, Gene Cherry, Dave Sepperson. But I think we might have a little division on the Cody Rhodes promo from Raw. Here's my thing. All that does to me is give The Rock and Roman Reigns fuel to clown the Cody crybabies. I already understand Cody's story. We've already been rooting for him. They already rejected a Rock Roman Reigns WrestleMania because of this guy. I don't need the sob stories anymore. I want to see Cody clap back. I want to see that learn the lyrics to Kingdom energy. Not, I got to finish my story. I'm done with the story. I'm finished with that.
Yeah, man, I just disagree. I don't know how you don't watch that and don't feel emotional. I got goosebumps when he was like tearing up, man. Like, if you have a mom, you have like a family, like, I'm thankful I've never lost one of my parents yet, but like, I can only imagine how tough that is for him to lose his dad. Like, and especially someone who's like the reason he's in the business, he's never going to get to share this moment with his dad, but like being able to say that he could share with his mom, like that hit me so hard. And like, it made me want him to have that moment so much more. And so I don't know how you could look at that interview, promo, whatever you want to call it, and not think of it as a W.
Well, what are you're telling me that Cody's dad was a professional wrestler?
Well, I see. I'm indifferent with it, right? Because I see both sides. Like, for anyone who says, "Oh, The Rock repeats himself all the time," like Cody's been saying the same thing for the past year and a half. Like, we know his story, but at the same time, this is kind of who he is. This is what got him the Cody crybaby support, is when he gets on camera and he shows the emotion. Like, he's the only wrestler who does that. To me, I'm cool with him crying as long as I don't got to see it anymore. I think last night was kind of like, okay, let me just let people know this is why I'm doing this. This story is bigger than me. It's for everybody. Cool. I don't need to see him cry anymore. And to say he hasn't clapped back, like we just saw him slap The Rock last week. So we were kind of getting the best of both worlds with him. He's slapping folks up and then crying about his story later. So we're kind of seeing both sides. I'm cool with it. I don't got a problem with it. I just don't want to see it again. I'm good.
I want to see him clap back with his words, though. Like a slap is one thing, but you're supposed to follow up that slap with the equivalent out of your own mouth. I mean, I actually thought Seth Rollins did a good job redeeming himself a little bit on SmackDown, where he actually asserted himself. We've been talking about him as the weakest link. And you could make the argument right now, I think, that the tag match has more hype than the Roman Cody solo match going into WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, it's because The Rock's in it. Like, everybody wants to see The Rock wrestle. It's like, you know what? To me, the Cody Roman match is going to be incredible. And whether we have bloodline rules or not, and I think we will, like, everything about this is still Cody's story. This is Cody's storyline. And all these other pieces that are around him, Rock and Roman and Seth, they're all just like pieces on the board to ultimately get Cody to where he needs to be. Like, he needs to win this match at WrestleMania. He needs to get the WWE Championship. And we can talk about this because I'm going to make a strong statement. If he loses at WrestleMania, if he does not beat Roman Reigns, I think the fans are going to turn on him because you cannot lose twice. Like, he, after everything that has been going through, we've watched this, he needs this win more than anything.
No, he doesn't. I'll tell you why he doesn't. He's already the biggest face on the card. The man is practically the face of the company. He does not need to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He's going to finish his story. So just because he loses at WrestleMania, fans are all of a sudden going to turn on him the Monday after WrestleMania. No shot. This man is over. He can cry on camera and people cheer him. He is literally honestly, he's a bigger babyface than John Cena was at his peak, because back then, if you remember, John Cena was getting the let's go Cena sucks. Everybody loves Cody Rhodes. He can't afford an L. To me, he can afford the L, but fans will still love him at the end of the day. I don't agree. I don't think he can't afford the
Your hero.
We saw it last year. We were saying the same thing a year ago.
Has to get a win once in a while. If
he has been winning,
he's been pinned once since last WrestleMania. I mean, all he's done is win. He beat Brock Lesnar. They're not going to turn on Cody. They'll be angry at the company again. If they were going to turn on Cody, they would have turned on Cody when he looked like a punk giving his WrestleMania match to The Rock. I mean, that was the weakest he's looked in this whole thing. These dudes, these Cody crybabies, are going to shed tears of joy when Cody finally wins. Whether it's at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam, next year's WrestleMania, on a random Raw on Netflix, whenever Cody Rhodes finishes his story, they're going to cry and celebrate because they've been waiting for it for so long. And, before The Rock's interjection, I thought he had to win at WrestleMania this year. The Rock's interjection complicates things a little bit more because you have different layers here. You have the possibility of The Rock and Cody. You have the setup for The Rock and Roman eventually. So I could see them going either way now. Before it felt like it was a foregone conclusion that Cody was going to win. But if I had to bet, Cody eats the pin to Roman on night 1, sets up Bloodline rules on night 2, and overcomes Bloodline rules to finally finish the story, because that's the part of it that's getting stale to me, the whole finishing the story aspect. And then I wonder what's going to happen when he's actually champion. Because when he's actually champion, what's his thing going to be?
That's exactly why he can't afford to take an L, because you know who can't afford to take an L? Roman Reigns. You take that title away from Roman Reigns, he becomes just another guy. He is not that. Title has become a part of Roman Reigns more so than any other champion we have ever seen. You take that away from him, it's like he loses his superpower, because right now people don't care for Roman Reigns. They just want the title that's around his waist. As soon as you take that away from him, I'm telling you, we're going to see a drastic change in how Roman Reigns received.
He's got the number one selling thing in the merchandise.
Whatever, you got that from a Roman Reigns Twitter page.
No, man. But it's still the official. Whether it's a Roman Reigns Twitter account, you know why? Because the official merchandise.
The Rock just acknowledged him. It took him 2 years to get the number 1 spot again. Robin, what's that tell you? He's been champion for 3 years, and how many times has he had the number 1 selling product?
For a long time. He had it for a long.
No, that's not true.
And if you look at the numbers, the Roman segments on SmackDown for 2-3 years running have been the biggest thing.
And it's been the biggest since The Rock came back and made him a side character.
No one's arguing The Rock isn't a big star.
Let's not talk about Roman's the guy. Let's not put him on the same.
But that doesn't mean Roman hasn't carried the company on his back for 3 years.
Well, he has. Well, guess what? The company's the biggest it's ever been because of The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and Seth and Reigns have been side characters in this. And that's not even a debate. You saw the poster. It's Rock and Cody, and then you got Seth and Roman right now. But back to my point, Roman cannot afford to lose, which is why I think he's going to retain. And Cody can. Cody has proven he does not need that belt to get over with the audience. Whereas Roman, we don't know that yet. And he hasn't had to do it for over 3 years.
Here's the thing. You cannot, to me, have Cody lose and then go another year of this. We cannot watch Roman be champion for another year.
Why not?
It's stale.
He's not going to hold it for a year.
Except for the company's never done better.
He's not going to hold it for a year.
He's never even around. The company's better because Cody's been the guy. And I'm going to throw it to you, Gene, as well, because you said Roman needs it. And I don't disagree. I think he does need the title. But that, to me, could be interesting because when Roman does lose, now you have a chance to really take that character and show him in a new light. What does it look like when Roman doesn't have the bloodline behind him? What does it look like? Maybe you can turn Roman babyface again if you strip away everything he has.
They tried 10 years to do it. You cannot. He is a natural badass.
You're arguing a different Roman Reigns versus this Roman Reigns. This Roman Reigns can absolutely be a babyface.
No, he cannot.
Tribal Chief versus the Big Dog is a whole different league. They're playing Roman's team at the Lakers game the other day. We're talking about, levels above. That's like arguing, you can't turn the Rock face.
You cannot call yourself You cannot call yourself head of the table without the title. That's his whole shtick. You take that away. Who's he leading? What table is he leading? What table? You cannot call yourself the head of the table, levels above, if the other guy has your belt. It does not work. You cannot sell that.
That to me is what's interesting about this is there is a lot of ways that Roman Reigns can go. And ultimately, listen, Roman has been part-time for a while. We don't know if he will stick around long-term after this is over. He could very well become a part-time guy who, doesn't want to do this all the time, so we'll see where his career goes after this. But to me, that's why I still say Cody needs to win. Roman has to take the L. There's a lot of interesting ways you can go. Whereas if Cody loses and Roman wins again, then we're in the same spot we are now, and nobody wants that.
Are we not in a better spot than we were a year ago? That's my question. We are in a much better. WWE has never been better. WWE has never been better. And I said this on my own TikTok. This is the same company that broke the streak for no apparent reason. This shock value that WWE gets out of this, shock value over happy ending, to me, I think WWE chooses that every single time. Cody's going to get his moment, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen at Mania.
There's a lot of happy endings being set up, by the way, right now. I mean, you have Cody, if he were to beat Roman, You have Jey Uso, who almost has to beat Jimmy Uso, I think, at this point. And then you have Sami Zayn against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. And Sami's been through a lot. Now, there are fans out there who wanted Chad Gable, Sep, I know you're one of them, to win that match, the gauntlet match to qualify. I disagree. I mean, I think Sami has developed a connection with the fans over a long period of time, deserves his hero moment a little bit, and I think he and Gunther will put on a hell of a match.
They will, but here's the problem, and I'll start with Sami because I love Sami Zayn, and I agree. The fans are behind him, and he's in a tough spot because there are a lot of people who want Chad Gable, and maybe it's a minority on the internet and not the grand scheme of the show. And ultimately, we'll see on Monday what happens when they do Sami and Gunther. If people start chanting for Chad Gable, like that will be a big telltale sign. So we'll see how things unfold. But Sami got his backing because of the Roman Reigns storyline. People wanted to see him beat Roman. People don't want to see him beat Gunther. And I know the IC title has been elevated and Gunther's done an incredible job, but Sami's already been IC champion. Adding another IC title reign to his CV is very impressive, but doesn't, to me, elevate him. Whereas Chad Gable, like this guy's been in the company for years. He got put in terrible gimmicks like Shorty G. He's been an unbelievable tag team wrestler with Jason Jordan. His run in NXT was legitimately incredible. Bobby Roode, Otis, he's had a litany of tag team partners and all of them have been enjoyable. And like everybody wants this guy to get like his next step. Like there's reason Bobby Roode said in an interview where he was like, this guy could be the next Kurt Angle. Like that's not just coming from fans. That's coming from other wrestlers. And now a guy who's a producer in the back who like has influence. So like to hear someone like that say like this guy could be that level, like Chad Gable, the only way he gets there is if he gets a legitimate run and a storyline. And like, to me, he had the best story against Gunther. Everything that happened with his kids and that match, like him winning and going to fight Gunther and potentially getting that moment, even if he lost, which would have been heartbreaking, and I want to see him win, like that would have been more emotional. If Sami wins, cool, I'll be happy for Sami. He's a great wrestler. But if Chad Gable won, I would have been like legitimately emotional. Like I would have like been welled up, like, wow, he finally got his moment. Like that to me is the difference between a Sami win and a Chad Gable win. And so that is why I really think they missed the opportunity to give Chad Gable this match.
Well, this goes back to a year ago. Sami was fighting Roman Reigns for the championship. So that's why you're looking at fans like, well, we already seen Sami kind of almost hit that mountaintop. Now it kind of feels like you're taking a moment from a guy who's kind of earned it. And it's nothing that Sami Zayn did wrong. It's just been poor management. And right now, at this point, I feel like that match with Gunther and Sami might get hijacked because we're living in a different WWE universe where fans can immediately tweet their disfaction instead of having to wait a week and seeing what happens. You could just, back in the day, you could just have a match, have a main event, and then you don't got to worry about any repercussions. Now you get in tweets, you get in IG comments of people saying we want Gable, and I feel bad for Sami. And Gunther, he's a big boy. It doesn't matter. Gunther's was gonna karate chop whoever got in the ring with him, but at this point, it seems like the fans are going to try their hardest to hijack this matchup because it is loud. It might not be as loud as the We Want Cody, but sure enough, the fans are going to tweet their displeasure. And honestly, WWE, they put themselves in this corner. When you give the fans this kind of voice, you kind of got to deal with it. And to me, I agree with Seth. I think Chad Gable's earned this spot. And unfortunately, I think that match is going to get hijacked in Philly for sure.
I think you're overstating it. I don't think it's even close. I mean, the energy of Cody Rhodes and what happened there was on a whole different level. We saw Liv Morgan fans say something, and WWE has acknowledged.
This is bigger than Liv. This is bigger.
I don't know. I don't think so.
This is.
I think it's about the same as the Liv Morgan thing. Yeah, but they acknowledged that. They worked her into an angle with Becky Lynch. They acknowledged the blowback Maxine Dupree got. They had worked that into an angle on Raw. I don't think
Liv didn't have a story.
I don't think Chad Gable deserves this spot yet. He needs to develop a character. He's awesome in the ring. I think he's got great potential. I'm not dissing him, but I don't care about him yet. What has he done?
You're in the minority, Robin. You're in the minority. You're in the minority. That's a fact.
I don't know if I'm in the minority.
You definitely
are.
I'm in the minority in this room.
You're in the minority of this, bro.
Wrestling fans
and this is someone who wanted Sami to win. Until I saw the match, I saw the promos, you see the response, and just look at the comments, bro. Are you blind? Are you not seeing how fans are reacting?
I'm not worried about a few internet comments. That's
okay, it's not a few, Robin. You're the minority. I haven't seen many. Sami deserves this. I have not seen Sami's earned this spot. He doesn't have a story with Gunther. He doesn't. That's a fact. He already fought Roman Reigns, bro. He was already at the peak So why? This is a backward step for Sami. People want to see Sami win Money in the Bank, be a potential champion. See, they want to see him with a briefcase rather than the IC championship. Like 100%. That's a fact.
It's exactly like Sami is, and this is not to like diminish the IC title and try and take it down because they've done such a good job building it up. But like, if Sami was never IC champion, I'd be like, yeah, this makes a ton of sense. He's never won it. It could be his opportunity. He's already had this title. He's already had this run. And if you were to take the IC title off of Gunther and give it to Sami, I just think it devalues the championship because you want the championship to mean something. So giving it to someone who's never had it, who can help now elevate that person. Like that's the thing. When we say like Gunther elevated the title, now you want to use the title to help elevate the next guy. Giving this title to Sami doesn't elevate Sami. Sami's already there. He's already in the main event picture. That to me is the biggest flaw in this decision. It's not so much as, and listen, at the end of the day, if Gunther just beats Sami, fine. Then you're continuing Gunther's reign, and like, okay, then probably it made sense to not give it to Chad. But like, I think most people would say, we want Gunther to drop the title at Mania so that if Cody wins, I want to go see then Gunther try and take on Cody and say, hey, I've had my IC title run. Now it's time for me to go get the next championship. Cody, I'm coming for you. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, that's where I think people want to see like progression of like some of these wrestlers. Like we've just gotten to a point where like Reigns has been champion for so long. Gunther's been champion for so long. We want to see the next step of where these guys are going. And you can't have them win forever. Like there has to be changeover. There has to be continuations of their careers. Watching Gunther just beat up guys forever is great and it's fun, but there's more to his career, and I want to see where he's going to go next.
Well, I think Gunther has to take that next step up. I think he's ready for that next step up. As far as, I mean, look, they could work the angle that Chad Gable's shoulders weren't down and make it a triple threat, but I do think you guys are overstating a little bit just how big the movement is. But the movement for the women is huge. I think it got to the gauntlet match before there was a men's match on Raw, you know, and you've got, or at least there was a bunch of women's matches before that. And we've gotten to the point where we talk about Rhea Ripley and her star power. We talk about the Bianca Belair and her place in you know, the history. We've argued about Becky Lynch and if she belongs in the GOAT debate. And that's not to mention Bayley and Io Sky have a match at WrestleMania. Nia Jax was involved in an angle. Liv Morgan was part of that Becky Lynch banger that went on. I mean, we are in this state of affairs, and the only negative, I guess, is that they're not getting one of the main event nights because the WWE is positioning the women as equal to the men for the most part.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listen, Becky and Liv had an absolute banger on Raw. That match was incredible, and it progressed with the Nia Jax stuff for next week with her and Becky, which is going to be great. So yeah, they've definitely emphasized the women, and rightfully so, because they've earned it. Like they're putting on great matches. If you cannot watch that Liv Morgan Becky Lynch match and not be on the edge of your seat, it was incredible wrestling, amazing storytelling. And then, you know, the tag team stuff, the Maxine Dupree and Candice LeRae stuff was like super uncomfortable. If I'm being honest, I felt really bad for Maxine, which is exactly what you want in that spot. Like, you know, for Candice LeRae to say all those horrific things to her, you're just like, damn, like you can't help but feel for Maxine and like want to like, you know, support her, which is great. You know, like the goal should be to get her over and hopefully, you know, she can continue to progress in the ring and have that moment of, you know, triumph. So yeah, all well deserved. And it was a great night of women's wrestling. But Robin, just to correct you, there was the Damian Priest R-Truth match in there as well. But yeah. But there was,
I forgot R-Truth. It said he showed up and said what he thought it was Monday, and
yeah, what day is it? He's supposed to do media on Monday, and they're like, it is Monday. And he's like, what? My bad. Yeah, it was great. Archer's the best.
Yeah, I'll just say the women really have been doing their thing, and honestly, it is a shame that they're not main eventing a night of WrestleMania because they've earned it. Like you go back to the Elimination Chamber, the Royal Rumble, like they've shown up at times where the men haven't. It's just unfortunate we're not going to see them in the main event. I will say this, Liv Morgan to me showed why she has her support. For anyone who says, oh yeah, you're just rocking with her because of how she looks, this woman can wrestle, man. And she said, and I will say this, I think she's the one that's eventually going to take down Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley beats up Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I think she retains, she goes. But I think they told a really cool story with Liv Morgan. Like she's not going anywhere. She's here to stay. And she has some of the illest move sets on the roster, man. That float over DDT was nasty. Like I'm a big fan. Liv, if anything, I became a true Liv Morgan fan last night. She killed it last night, and she earned it.
Yeah, I love Liv Morgan. I agree. She's so special. She's got everything that you would want in a wrestler to position them as one of the top wrestlers in the company. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that's the reason that the women don't have a main event is because for me, I just don't see a world where Rhea Ripley loses to Becky in any way, shape, or form. So in that sense, like Rhea had that moment at Elimination Chamber. So like you don't need to redo it at WrestleMania. Like she's gonna win, it's gonna be great. But like you want like that main event to have that like special ending, that feeling of like, wow, like what's going to happen tomorrow? Like, like kind of thing. So in that sense, I understand it. They gave Rhea that moment. She's had that, like, I am the top of the heap. And now she's just going to beat up Becky at WrestleMania and continue on to, the next.
Well, it's circumstances, right? It's the bloodline again. Last year it was the bloodline in the sense that we had lived this story with Sami Zayn and we're invested in Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn and KO against the Usos made sense. And then The Rock is just so overwhelmingly famous and has injected so much energy into the bloodline story that there was not much you could do about it. Speaking of women in wrestling, I thought this was interesting. Mercedes Moné doing her interviews as she leads up to what we assume is her AEW debut. They've all but announced her there. And she said that she eventually is going to be back in WWE. I mean, that's fine. That's all well and good. And she could say whatever she wants. I don't know if I love that if I'm AEW, just on the fact that you want this to be a big deal. You want this to be your signing, your moment. We're AEW. Mercedes, Sasha Banks is all elite. And she's already going, yeah, I'm kind of using this as a stepping stone to go back to the big leagues.
She's keeping it real, man. This is why I love Sasha. She says what she wants, man. And if I'm Tony Khan, guess what? I'm listening very intently. She's telling Tony Khan, you better cut the check, better not mess around with my career, or I will be out the door real fast. So if anything, she's putting Tony Khan and AEW on notice. I can't wait for her to just be on television, honestly. AEW, WWE, I can't wait. I miss Sasha Banks. I don't care if she goes by Mercedes Moné. That's Sasha Banks to me. And honestly, she is the top woman in the world. I don't care what's going on right now. When she goes, people pay attention. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Is it like the ideal thing? Probably not, but I don't mind it. Like ultimately, like that's where if she one day she wants to go back, that's fine. There are a lot of wrestlers who come and go. And like, that's the best part about having two big companies is they can, maneuver between each other and get big paydays. And that's always good for them. So like ultimately, yeah, I'm excited for her debut. I cannot wait for Wednesday to see how it all unfolds. I do hope they debut her. I'm sure they're going to. But yeah, like, it doesn't bother me. I can understand why maybe like some of the executives in AEW would be like, I wish she had not said that. But at the end of the day, as long as she's driving eyeballs to AEW, getting people to watch the show, that's her job. That's what matters. The WWE stuff, the future, it'll all pan out however it's supposed to. But I'm focused on the debut and what are they going to do with her? How are they going to make her feel special? Because she is special and we want to see what they're going to do with her. Because that to me is the most exciting part of this.
Yeah, don't fumble. Tony Khan, do not fumble this. You cannot fumble this. She's already established. She's a star. It's right there for you. You cannot mess this up.
I'm going to tell you, though, they did not fumble the Okada debut. I thought that was excellent. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice little swerve because, like, Okada's been a babyface in New Japan for so long. So to have him come out and team up with the Bucks and join the Elite, like, so smart. The only thing I wish they had done a little differently was when he turned on Eddie, his Rainmaker move was just a little clunky. I wish they had just done like a, elbow to the back of the head or something a little more like faster, just because like it felt like, oh, we're setting this up. He's gonna do it. Like you want that like immediately, like, oh my, like where it's kind of like, oh, okay, he's doing it. Like, but other than that, like it was a great moment. I think having Kenny get booted, and now like the EVPs on this power trip, it's just been so smart, really well booked with the Bucks, and I am excited. I think we talked about with MJF leaving, you need that like next like group or person to step up, and now it is the Elite, it is Okada, it is the Bucks. Like they are the heads of the company, and they are positioning themselves as the ultimate bad guys who can throw around their power and say, we'll suspend you if you get in our way. Well, and that's just really entertaining TV. It's fun because people are like, I don't care if you're my boss, I'm still gonna kick you in the face. So yeah, I thought the Okada debut was great, and I'm very excited to see where the future goes with that and the Elite, because I think the sky's the limit for what they can do with that group.
I love the Okada debut, actually. I think oftentimes AEW just thinks people are going to know who somebody is, and they're going to throw them into a match, and because they have a good match, everybody's going to be, entertained. I like the fact that they made me want to see where they're going with him. I also felt like his heel mannerisms were very strong, but he needs to be bigger than the Young Bucks. I'm sorry. He feels bigger. He looks bigger. He is bigger. He needs to be a bigger deal than them. They need to be the sidekicks and the side characters. And they're going to have to build on that because I think they're in a little bit of a nice run here after a real rut, that Darby Allin and Sting and all that. But it hasn't manifested itself in viewer. I think that Dynamite was actually their lowest rated in a long, long time. And you see like the Will Ospreay segment was actually the lowest one on the entire card. And that goes to what I'm saying. Nobody knows who Will Ospreay is, and of course wrestling fans do. Yeah. But the broad people don't know or care to go like, oh, who's this guy? What's his deal? And I think that's what they did succeed with in Okada, and I want to see more of that from AEW.
Yeah, I say this with like UFC all the time. Is like you can put on great matches and great fights, but if I don't have an investment in the characters or the fighters, it's going to always fall flat. I love great wrestling matches, but there's still you gotta build these guys. So yeah, I agree. Will Ospreay, one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. Continue to show us who he is. Give us more of his personality. Let us become invested in these guys, and like the ratings will continue to grow. Like, and that's the one thing that like AEW positions themselves as like a real sport, which is great, and I love that. But you still have to have both sides. You have to have the entertainment and the character development as well as the 5-star matches.
Now, Gene, how many stars do you give WWE 2K? You're a gamer. I know you've been playing it, and that was out last week.
Man, it's 5 stars for me, man. It's 5 stars. This game, I have been playing it nonstop, honestly. I haven't bought 2K in probably like 10 years. But something told me this year was going to be special, and it has, man. Like, this game runs super smooth. I know we talked about it before. I really don't have any notes on this, man. Like maybe the universe mode, obviously they could do a little bit more improvement as far as making it more customizable and creating rivalries. But overall, this game hits, man. Like this is fun. Like you could really play this for hours. My favorite feature has to be the special guest referee match where you could just literally do whatever you want. Like they have like a little rating meter, whereas like if you're a bad ref, they'll bring out another ref to replace you. But even then, man, like you can really put a hurting on somebody. Like 1, 2, it doesn't matter if the Rock counts to 3. Like you can do all that, and like honestly, that's probably my favorite feature: special guest referee matches. But overall, this is a game that I think will go down as one of the best wrestling video games ever.
My son Raj has been playing it, and I think you said it's the showcase mode. That is really cool to me because they go through WrestleMania classics and set the context, and then you play. So like you learn something as you're playing it, and it stood out to me because I saw him do the I Quit match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That really, in some ways, took Austin 316 to the next level, and the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, of course, an all-time classic. So that was really cool for me to watch the lead up and the vignette that they did, and then get into the game and actually see those matches play out.
Yeah, Corey Graves was incredible. His narration throughout it really feels like you're going through a lesson. And so if you didn't watch, because I don't remember everything that happened in the first past WrestleMania. I've seen documentaries, but to go through the details of the actual matches was really smart. And I thought they went into a lot more detail this year.
He did Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat from WrestleMania 3 too. That's another one.
Wow, a lot of arm drags in that one. Gene, I gotta know, what was the first match you played when you got like which 2 superstars you picked? What was the match?
Oh man, I think I did. I did War Games. I did War Games Attitude Era versus versus the modern guys. I had Rock, Austin, Triple H, Taker versus Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and I think I put Zayn in there. I think I put Sami in there. And that was a classic because you could jump off the top. Before you come in, you could grab weapons and bring them in the ring. And honestly, they brought in the blood factor, which is new. Whereas like you bust somebody open and you actually see blood all over the mat, which is like a crazy feature considering where we are right now. But the War Games match to me might be my favorite. 8 4-on-4 and complete chaos, man. Like it's fun.
Love it.
All right, that'll do it for us here today on Anito Wrestling. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, and share, and all that. We'll be back as the road to WrestleMania continues to, what is it doing now? Heat up? drive, one of those things.
Yeah, it all works.